Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Xa Talk Show. Today's uh, today's August 1st. Oh wow, August 1st, 2019, 6 o'clock and 6 minutes in the afternoon, San Francisco time. And actually, I'm not ready yet, so I'll be back in, let's say, 5 minutes. 5 minutes or okay, 5 minutes. I'll be back. So be right back in 5 minutes. Um, okay, let's type it. Be right back in 5 minutes. Start at 6:15. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, so nothing wrong with that. Yep. I should put that. Hello, guys. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome yourself back. So today's topic is random. I don't have a fixed topic. Um, I'm on time. So today's topic is random. Okay. So guys, what should we talk about? You know, usually, there's math. There's a lot of things. Like usually when I don't have a topic, like I just click somewhere on my website and I started to talk about that, and usually it's going to be half an hour or more. Like usually it's just gonna take the whole hour. So this is math. So we can we can talk about math. I can teach you a little bit, something about math, interesting stuff. Not the typical calculus you learn in colleges, but these are serious mathematics, interesting things. Math, the shape of space, that's very interesting. Geometry, um, is a shape of space. And I can talk about random stuff, these magic polyhedrons. And by the way, so okay, so this one is a virtual one. You can, it's a software. You can go there. It's written in JavaScript, and you can it's, I love these kind of puzzles. Let me adjust the window. Okay, this is too big, and this is not good. Okay, so of those you here, type. Okay, if you like to see Emacs, Lisp, or programming languages, just let me know, because I usually my topics are. Good morning, guys. My topics are usually okay. Math is one of the topic. Math, programming languages, or live coding. I can do live coding. Typically, Emacs, Lisp, JavaScript, or Golang. Okay, it seems Python is very popular. A lot of people asking me if I want to do Python, but I haven't coded Python in the past few months. So it's usually, in order to do a live coding, you have to kind of warm up. If you haven't coded the language for a few months, that's not good. So yeah, so math, programming, and live coding, Emacs, Lisp, JavaScript, Golang usually, and also I can talk about programming languages, programming language design. Oh my God, that's a huge topic. That's a mountain, and the sea of topics. You get to see the mountain and hills and programming language designs. I have, because usually I have quite a lot esoteric things. These are not the things you see online. Like like if you are a programmer, you must be familiar with Hacker News or Stack Overflow. Those questions, they don't, like you could say it's mainstream, but there's a lot of things interesting that other than those. For some reason they just um, these topics they don't come up. Semantic noodle, syntax soup on Lisp. Oh yeah, the other day I was trying to show you this picture. Uh, okay, I'm gonna read the comments and answer them. So the other day I was going to show you this picture, which I didn't find. This is a Byte magazine. Byte magazine. This is 1979. This is very funny. But Byte magazines, 1979. Lisp. Their cover is Lisp with this monolithic slab and with Lisp code on it. And you know what this refers to? Anyone? You guys know what this refers to? like type it. Okay, I'm gonna tell you what it refers to in a minute. Like type it. So this, language design issues. I haven't written a compiler myself. I haven't created a language. Maybe possibly down the road. I hope to. But still, there are many interesting programming language design issues. In fact, I don't think there is actually a book that talks about programming language design. All aspects of programming language design. There is one, by the Scheme Racket group called, you guys, it's very famous. You guys know that? Type it. Okay, type it. Then I have to, then I know, like, yeah, there is a book about programming language design, but I looked into it a little bit. I don't think that's the book. So there is actually no book that covers comprehensively what are all the issues about programming language design. Okay, there is. I don't think there is one. By the way, Donald Knuth, in his Art of Programming series of books. Okay, I guess I need to show it. Art of Programming. Okay, Donald Knuth, most of you know, he's written, this, well, supposedly ambitious project of Art of Programming. What the heck is that? Art of Programming. So it's supposed to be like 8 volumes or 9, but it turns out, what the fuck is this? Wait, how is this? Now I'm on DuckDuckGo. How is it possible it start to show maps? Where did I click? That's interesting. Okay, so anyway, let's open a new window. Art of Programming. Okay, so Donald Knuth, he he wrote these series books, supposed to be 8 volumes or so, but right now it's only 4 volumes are published. I doubt he can finish it. He's going to. I mean, he's like 80 years old, something like that. But one of the volume, like I think volume 8, is supposed to be programming language design. you know. So anyway, yeah. So I don't think there is a book for programming language design. But however, there is one. Let me mention that Amazon.com. But I don't think that's actually that's kind of, half of it is for beginning. It serves as a textbook for programmers, for beginning programmers. So what is that book? Okay, so I know how to find it. You can find it by first find the book, the okay, SICP. Okay, SICP, Structure and Interpretation of Computer Programs. This is a great book. I read this book in 1998 or 1999, and this book is online free, by the way. Yeah, okay, let's just start to talk about things. Sick. And that book has 4 chapters. It's known as a wizard book. It has 4 chapters. I read 3 chapters of it. The last chapter I didn't read, and this is back in 1998 or 1999. So, and this is free online. It uses Scheme Lisp to teach you some principles about how to write programs. Okay, so there's that book, but there is another one. You see, we are talking about a book that talks about programming language design of programming languages. So in order to find that book, I just use the related link. Okay, here. Which one is it? I think it's I think that's this one. Concepts, techniques, and models of computer programming. No, it's not this one. Does anyone know what's that book? Okay, so let's read the comments. Just to say hello, I'll watch the relay tomorrow. Okay, good night, Informatic. Hi, Deckways. Hey, Deckways. Haven't seen you for a while. What's a good alternative to Python? That's an easy question. Now, the common popular answer to that is Ruby. Ruby is a alternative to Python. Okay. Now, Ruby, Python, and Perl, they are kind of in the same class. So I have a tutorial for each. Ruby, Python, and Perl. Okay. I coded Perl from 1998 to 2002 every day, 8 hours a day. So but my Perl tutorial, I only started to write it like 5 years ago. Seriously. Oh, okay. So it's complicated story. Actually, I started this Perl tutorial in 2005, but back then it was Perl and Python together. Like on each page, for example, how to do a loop. Then I'll have a page, on loop. Then half of the page is Perl. The other half is Python. But few years ago, about 5 years ago, I started to separate them because because in general, people are not interested. When you have comparative study of Perl, Python, like that, your main audience will be those who are interested in programming languages. Now, this group of people is very very few. Okay, for each such person interested in programming languages, there are 1,000 programmers. Okay. So in general, people, those who want to study Python, they just want to study Python. They don't care about, Perl or whatever. They are not interested in comparative study or programming language design. Vast majority of people, they just are interested in, how to find a job, make money. And so back then, my tutorial was, Perl and Python side by side. Then I separated. So I got a Perl tutorial, Ruby, Python, Golang. Okay, Python, Ruby, Perl, these three are considered in the almost the same thing, like in the same class. They have the same. They are, they are designed basically for same kind of the task and same speeds as almost the same. Okay, Perl, Python, Ruby. I never actually coded Ruby, but I spent like 2 months to study Ruby because I was planning, to use Ruby as my main programming language. I started in Perl, right, for 4 years back in 2000, 1998. Then I got tired of Perl. There's more than one way to do it. Just idiotic, the code. Perl Larry Wall. Okay, I'm gonna show you. I have Larry Wall's signed one of my book. Larry Wall and Codes. Laziness, Perl, Larry Wall. This is written in 2002. There are several essays about. If you are interested in history, now this is like 20 years ago. History is such that when you live at the time, the situation, like you have the feeling, the environment, how everyone is talking about something, there's a mentality, there's a word for that, zeitgeist, describing the thinking of the time. But as long as time goes on, if you don't live in that in that period, you read history book, this kind of mindset thing is lost. Instead, so what you have instead is mostly like statistics. Oh, Perl was invented at this year, then this, that. You don't get the the sense of the what's going on in the situation. So, but there are books that that you can learn from. For example, great novels are typically of that example. You can dive into, let's say 200 years ago from reading a great novel, War and Peace, and things like that. You can get into the mindset of the particular region, what they are thinking, what they do every day. So if you are interested in that, so you can read, this is Perl 2002. And this one, Larry Warren Codes, this is written in year 2000. You get to realize what like indirectly from my tutorial, I mean from my essay, I'm ranting about certain things, but indirectly when you read this essay you can see, oh, so people are thinking like that. You can get those kind of things. So I was saying, I programmed Perl for 4 years in 1998 to 2002, professionally. Then after that, of course, I do my own scripts. But then around 2005, I learned Python. Okay, because I wanted to, I'm tired of the Perl. Let me show you the. I'm tired of the Perl code. That it's like the Unix philosophy code. Like there's more than one way to do it, and lots of those silly quotes. The Perl people and Larry Wall is fond of. They make tons of silly. This pseudo science, this code like snake oil things. The most famous is being that there are more than one way to do it. Yeah, I'm trying to show you the picture actually. I mean, because I have. Let me find it. Okay, theory and practice. Oh, back to Perl. Okay, so let's see. There it is. This picture is taken in 2001. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. This photo is taken in 2001 in San Jose. Larry Wall signed it. I went there to the Linux conference, Linux Expo 2001. Back then, that's when the open source is thriving. Like anyway. So I'm tired of Perl. That's why I began to study Python. I want Python to be my main language. Like I don't want Perl anymore. Then after 5 years, after 10 years, it's a mistake. Okay. It's a mistake. Python is as codey as Perl. Okay, Python, how do you describe Python community, Python people in one sentence? So the way you describe it, okay, it is this. Python people, they like to think. Let me write it out because it's more fun. Okay, here's what Python people thinks. Comp sci oh shit. Okay, that's what Python people thinks. This R should be reversed R. That's a Russian alphabet, Cyrillic, Unicode. Let's see. So we go to Unicode. Let's find the Russian alphabet. Okay, so comments are piling up. I need to read them because otherwise, let me read it just in a minute. So Cyrillic. So in Cyrillic, which is the Russian alphabet, you have this R, reversed R. Okay. So this is what, in one sentence, this is what Python people think of themselves. The Python fuckheads. Python people, they think that, oh, this is the only way. Python, it's a mistake. Python is different from Perl culturally. Perl is kind of inherited from this Unix philosophy. Like they are all about slangs, jargons, slogans, Pearl mongers, Pearl Republic, the state of the onion, those kind of a crap, that these idiots, Pearl. They love that. There's more than one way to do it. Oh, laziness is the great virtue of programmers. Like, the three virtues of programmers are laziness, something, something. And you have to, today you don't hear that anymore, but you have to understand back then, almost every programmer, online, they have signatures all quoting that, like they deeply believe in that, like every day you'll hear, oh, but if you are discussing some programming issues, then someone will pop up say, oh, should be this way because laziness is a great virtue of programmers. The fuck, these computer fuckheads. The Unix philosophy is the beginning of that. Then Perl people is like they inherited. They are kind of the same type of people. The Perl code. Then Python came along. So Python is supposed to be, the Guido van Rossum. Okay, so Perl people, they are sloppy. They are they are not bad people. Okay, this is just their culture. They are like all these sloppy things, and thinking, and they think they are doing great. They think they are creating art. Remember, for example, you have the GNU license, GPL. You have MIT license. You have Apache license, and many others. Perl has its own license. It's called artistic license. Okay, Perl, artistic license. The point is that you see the Perl people, the community, they like this kind of you might say wordplay. They enjoy that. Okay. Then Python came along. Now Python is very kind of in sharp contrast with Perl people. Python people, they think they are it's mostly because of the Guido van Rossum. In general, a programming languages community, what they are like mostly depends on, came from the creator. Whoever created a language, he get followers. Basically, the community becomes a broader view of his personality. Okay, it's kind of like that. So that's why Larry was you have the Perl Larry War community. Then Python, Guido van Rossum. I did a video like 3 months ago or 2 months ago that I talk about Guido van Rossum. His personality, he's this kind of passive aggressive guy. Okay, he doesn't not like Larry Wall, who just freely what I call happy-go-lucky. Okay, that's his. Those type of people, they don't care about nothing. They just do things happy-go-lucky. They don't care about correctness. Oh, like in Perl days, another quote very popular is theory versus practice. There's a famous quote. One of the famous crap from the Perl people is theory versus practice. The way they say is that, you see, Randall Schwartz, very famous guy, he said, there's this quote: the difference between theory and practice in theory is much less than difference between theory and practice in practice. That's a quote, very famous. You see it every other day. Okay, and but if you look at that, truly, that's the epitome of pseudoscience. That's the epitome of pseudoscience. It sounds so true. The difference between theory and practice in theory is much less than difference between theory and practice in practice. Yeah, these fuckheads. The Unix philosophy is one of them. They like this. They love this. So Python is very different community from Perl because the Guido van Rossum, he's kind of this passive aggressive. He has this mannerism. He's kind of passive aggressive type of person. On one hand, he doesn't go around tell you that that his idea is the best, or things like that. But however, he think that his idea, his design is the best. But he doesn't say. But however, he constantly, like, he has a need, he has an obsession to express that in a indirect way. You can see that in many of his essays. Like, I have essays about that. Like, you can see, as so 2 months ago I did a video talking about Guido van Rossum. So he so he's passive aggressive, and he think his design is the best. Everything else is no good. That is the Python community. That they in Perl community, for example, if there's a mailing list or online forum, Perl community is such that they welcome everyone. They welcome everyone. But Python community, you tend to have like this hierarchy, and also they constantly, they are active, banning trolls. Someone they consider as a troll, they ban. Anyway, that's the Python community. Okay. And the language it sucks. Okay, the Python language is no good. I thought, I'm moving from Perl to Python. I thought, I'm tired of the Perl crap, these artistic or sloppy things. I thought, it looks like the Python suits me. Python is like, okay, try to do it one way. There's just one way to do it. But Python is no good. Python, the language, many details. Okay, my roommate is back, so let me close the door, and let me talk about Ruby. So Python, Perl, Ruby, they are same type of languages. Let me talk about Ruby. Then let me tell you, actually Golang is the best language to learn today as a alternative to Python. Okay, so let me close the door. Okay, so I should read the comments because it's piling up. Keep the comments coming, guys. So Deckways says, I wonder, so what's an alternative, good alternative to Python? Okay, you can do Ruby. Now Ruby is popular because beginning in 2008 or so, because of the Ruby on Rails. But today, for some reason, Ruby kind of fell to the side. By the way, Ruby, Python, Perl, among these three languages, Ruby is the best by far. Ruby is simpler, semantically simpler than Python or Perl. The model of the Ruby language, okay, it's simpler. The syntax of Ruby is also simpler. It's easier to learn than Perl or Python, okay? And okay, so it's simpler, easier to learn. The documentation is much better than Python or Perl, okay, Ruby. And the language design of Ruby is also better than Python or Perl, okay. So Ruby is the best. Ruby is invented by this Japanese guy known as Matt, M-A-T-Z, okay. He's known as M-A-T-Z. Now in Japan, Japanese names, they are like Chinese names. You have first name, you have first name and last name, but the last name comes first. So for example, my name is Xa Li. Li is my family name. But in Chinese, you would say Li Xa always. And usually when you meet people, you never say their first name. You always address the person by the family name. That's the part of the culture. But anyway, so in Japan, especially in Japan, you never address someone by their first name. That's rude, okay? So he's a Japanese guy, but in America, in European countries, you always address the person by first name usually. So there's a situation, you see, because if you address him by his first name, I mean, even he knows you are not Japanese, but it's kind of, when it's written, and it's kind of it's odd, so he goes by, just by Mats. That's how Westerners call him. So anyway, he's a Japanese guy. He created Ruby. Ruby, the language, is based on two languages. It's based on Lisp and Perl. Okay, it's based on Perl and Lisp. These two, uh, almost that's all. So it's very good. So Ruby is much more elegant. It's simpler, easier to learn, same speed as Python, Perl. They are all the same speed. It's better designed. It's better documentation. Okay, Ruby came to fame because of the Ruby on Rails. This guy, American guy, who invented. He created Ruby on Rails. So he become very popular. That guy is a scumbag. Okay, he's a bad person. What's his name? Who's the guy who invented Ruby on Rails? That guy is a scumbag anyway. So Ruby become very popular, but however, if it's today it's not, it seems to fail. It's you don't, it's still, used everywhere, especially in startups, for web dev. But you don't hear, it as much. Python, on the other hand, is like everywhere because Google, because Google created this machine learning stuff, and Python is Google's language. So in turn, Python becomes very popular and associated with machine learning. So that's the situation. But I'm going to tell you that Golang is better than them. Okay, Golang, I love Golang. I learned Golang about a year or two ago. I seriously started to, code Golang. Actually, I'm going to show you Golang, some Golang stuff, maybe today. So Golang is great. I wrote this great tutorial. Okay, you should check out my tutorial. My tutorials are different from others because my tutorial, I try. Okay, the style is that is a math perspective. Okay, when you hear that, you might think, oh, math. No, I don't want math. Style tutorial that I wouldn't understand. That's not like that. I write my tutorials in a math style. So what does it mean? It means, you might think, oh, math jargon, so not. No, nothing like that. It just means I treat the language as simple as possible. Each idea is independent as possible from others, and each idea with lots of examples. So I'm telling you what it is. Exactly this, and once you read them, you can understand how they connect, how they relate to each other. So that is my style of tutorial. Usually I say math-oriented, math style. But usually that's not a good phrase for marketing, because when people hear math style, oh no, I don't want math. That's silly. But so anyway, so okay, lots of comments. Let me read them. Yeah, so I recommend Golang because Golang is like 6 times faster than any of Ruby, Python, Perl, and it's simpler. It's actually even simpler than Ruby. Okay, the language model is simpler than even Ruby. 6 times faster. Great documentation. Okay, the greatest documentation in industry. I've read thousands of man pages, Apache doc. I read cover. I tend to read them like cover to cover. I read entirety of Perl documentations. In fact, Perl. Perl book survey. Okay, I read. Back then there are 7 books. I read them all. Every page, every word. Okay. So this is around 2000, year 1999. Okay, there are these Perl books. Advanced Perl Programming, Effective Perl, Perl Cookbook, and Perl. This is by Larry Wall, and the Perl man pages. I read them, all. And I read, most of the man pages, and I read entirety of PHP documentation. Okay, I read the entirety of Mathematica documentation. That's a book this thick. Okay, this thick. It's a door stopper. That I read it like 3 times from separate years. Mathematica. PHP, entire PHP documentation. Almost every closure essay by the Rich Hick guy. Yeah, I read all. And there are only like 10 of them. The Rich Hickeys. That's then Ruby doc. I haven't. So I only I haven't coded Ruby. I only tried to learn it for 2 months, and the result is my tutorial. It's not complete. It's just simple introduction for beginners. That's what it's good for. So I don't know Ruby that much. I don't know Ruby well. So back then, in around 2012, that's when 2012. Yeah, that's when I started to learn Ruby. I was thinking, so I'm moving away from Perl and I'm moving away from Python. I'm thinking Ruby will be my main language. That didn't happen. But today, that didn't happen. For reasons. I started to do things. But today, Golang is my kind of my main language for industrial purposes. Golang, okay. So Ruby Perl. So we're talking about documentation. Ruby's Golang is great documentation. The most important thing about Golang is that why it's so good, because besides all these, good documentation, good language, simple to learn, fast, it's 5 times, 6 times faster than Python, Ruby, Perl. But there's one thing more critical than very important. That is, Golang is industry standard. Standard. It's one of the most popular language, meaning that if you learn Golang, you can find job everywhere. Now, for those of you interested in language design, many of you are interested in Clojure. Okay, I want to learn Clojure, or I want to learn Haskell. Haskell is this cool language. Or I want to learn Scheme. Lisp Racket. This cool language. But there's a problem, serious problem. These languages, there's no industrial adoption. Okay. Well, yeah, you could find a job, once in a while there's a job, here or there, Haskell, Clojure, but literally speaking, I mean, practically speaking, you will not find, there's very little job opportunity, okay? So you want to take that into consideration. I mean, if you are such a guy, you don't worry about money, you have all the money you need, then okay, you don't care about that. Then you just pick a language, whatever, is cool or whatever. But for most people, you want to pick a language that you like, and it's nice. And also, a very good thing is that it's industrial. It's very popular. So today, Golang, Python, Ruby, they are all actually they are all okay. So. But Clojure, when you get through Clojure or Camel, Haskell, you are getting into the fringe. Okay, you will not find a job. Okay, it will be because for every job in Clojure, there will be like 10,000 jobs in Golang or Python or Ruby. Okay, that's the situation. So I recommend Golang. Okay, it's because it's very popular. And also Golang is kind of a low level. It's like in between high level and low level. So when you learn Golang, Golang is designed to replace C++. It's in that class. So it could, so it's very fast. It's compiled, or you can just run it, without compilation like Python. So I like, so that is why I like Golang so much. you know, you know, a lot of my followers, I know that they tend to, a lot of people like to criticize Golang because you'll see people criticize, oh, Golang is just this, you know, old technology. They don't, you know, they don't have this or that features. You know, they complain. Uh, yeah, but you can complain all you want. Go study Haskell. Go study Mathematica. You know, the, the thing is that what's my point? Anyway, yeah. So anyway, I highly recommend Golang. Okay, yeah. So okay, let me so that kind of finishes that kind of. So let me read the comments. So hold on a second. So yeah, alternative to Python, Golang, Ruby is good choices. So Deckways, I wonder because people always say it's good language for beginners, but I think it's isn't a very good language generally. Yeah, I don't like Python. So what should I recommend a friend of mine to start learning? Well, that depends. You see, never programmed before. Things like that. If you, I mean, Golang, I mean, Python is still good. It's, aside from my personal opinions, I mean, it just works. Okay, it's like many of the programming language debate. We each of us has very strong opinions, but in general, it's a tool. You can get on with it. Remember that we went to the moon back in 1960s. Was it 1960 or 50s? This back then. Today your cell phone has 16 8 gigabytes of memory. Back then it's like 100 bytes. 100 bytes of memory. You don't have even calculators, but you went to the moon. So what do you do? But does that mean people don't need to compute? No, there's like tons of computation you need to do. Calculus, differential geometry. You're going to the moon. You don't have computers. You have you don't have like a memory. 1 kilobyte is it's on the space shuttle. So what do people do? People are very flexible. We human animals. I mean, we can craft things. Before technology, we craft lots of things. As long as there's a need, and as long as there's a will, usually a need first, a need to do something. The will, then you can do it. You don't. There's like different. The difference between or Python or Ruby is like very small. Okay, yeah. So next, let's read the comments. Informatic, Go or Rust? Go or Rust? Yeah. So yeah, a lot of people like Rust. Not for me because I don't like languages that's very low level and with memory stuff. I don't like. So yeah, a lot of talk that's about programming languages today. Let's see how long I've been talking. 50 minutes. Okay. So no code something Lisp. So George Phillips says, George Phillips Arrays says, oh yeah, so we were talking about this image. This is fantastic image. Let's see, where is it? Did I just oh god, where is it? Okay, so let me show you that. Okay, so let me show you that. So per Python, so on Lisp, so yeah, so this cover, Byte Magazine 1979 is in reference to the movie 2001. That's a great movie. So no code something Lisp. What does that mean? No code something Lisp. So Bartholomew JS. Greetings. Privet. What does that refer to? So Ztron Crazy says privet. What does that mean? Bartholomew says it can do. Bartholomew says it can do everything what Python can, but better. Plus, it can do more. Has flexibility and is more clear in implementation. So you are talking about Golang, right? Okay, I lost the context. Okay, so hold on a second. So yeah, actually, let me expand the window. Magnify. My eyes are going. I'm going blind. But what is something easy to learn? Ruby, Golang. Okay, Ruby is very complicated. So Deckway says Ruby is very complicated. It has like 10 ways to do the same thing, and the operators are very confusing. You could be right. I mean, I guess depends on, exactly what you mean. I guess. You see, one of the issue about flexible programming languages, this would include, this is an interesting issue. Okay, this include JavaScript, Ruby, Perl, Mathematica. Okay, let's say these four. These four languages, their syntax is such that you can, like one algorithm, you can write it in so many different ways. Okay, each one is totally different from the other, but actually they all means the same thing. They all follow the same algorithm. Python, well, not so much Python. But mostly JavaScript, Ruby, Mathematica. What's the other? Let's see. So Ruby, Perl, JavaScript, Mathematica. Okay, let's say these four languages. To implement the same algorithm, you can write it in so many different ways, and it's very flexible. One of the reasons they can do that is, function is a value, so you can assign a function to a variable. A function can take a function, can return a function. Not just that, but other syntactical things and other things. So you can write it in many ways, and it's very flexible, powerful. This is great expressibility for programmers. If you are a geek, a nerd, a hacker, you are deeply interested in languages, you tend to like this kind of languages. On the other hand, Java is the opposite extreme. Okay, Java, I guess C++ also count. I don't know C++, but anyway, Java is the opposite extreme. Extremely inflexible. Basically, they say template coding. Everything is just, looks, just template. Now, there's a very interesting issue going on here, because if you want a programming language to be popular, such that used by Google, by Microsoft, Facebook, who in a large team, let's say 100 people, for a large project, AI or whatever large project. When that in that situation, you tend to want a language that's not very flexible. You don't want, things like Perl. Perl is the extreme, on the right side. So Perl, JavaScript, Mathematica, Ruby, okay, and Perl is on the extreme side. On the other side is Java, okay. So when you have lots of programmers in a big project, you tend not to want the flexibility in writing the same code, because then everyone is different. I mean, even Style Guide cannot do it. Style Guide cannot enforce it, because you have so many ways to write the same thing. So that's an interesting issue. It's kind of like a conflict. On the other hand, if your team uses Java, everyone's code is the same, like every other. Every piece of code, it looks like the same. Now, so in that perspective, so this is interesting thing. So in a corporation, when you have a large team, You don't want flexibility. And Golang, when Golang is designed, they specifically also have that goal. Golang, they want to make it so that you cannot just like write the same thing in 10 different ways. You are kind of fixed into one way to write the same thing. You know, and they specifically designed that. This is part of their goal, because when you have like a flexible language, you have that kind of problems. Everyone's code is different. It's so that's an issue. Yeah, so that's an interesting issue. um how about Pico Lisp? I don't know Pico Lisp. It's an old Lisp, I suppose. I don't know. Why are you interested in Pico Lisp? uh So Bartholomew says, somehow the chat swallowed part of my messages. I will repeat them. Uh, you can post links. You can. Usually you just pop up and Um, okay, Julia Lan. Yeah, I heard great things about Julia Lan. Um, So I'm thinking of learning Julia, possibly. I don't know, because there are so many things I want to study. In math, proof systems. There's I like. But Julia Lang's got a problem. Okay, which is Julia Lang is not popular, meaning that it's like Haskell or Camel Mathematica closure. Yeah, you can learn it. It's great, but your opportunities in job market is severely limited. That's a thing to consider. That's one thing. That's kind of the thing I hate about uh, the situation. Like sometimes you have this language, great language, but nobody use it. You don't have you cannot use it to earn a living. Weibo. Hold on a second. So let's see. I so Bartholomew says I agree with what you said about communities around programming language and its creators. Okay. Weibo Champlu says, add me to your testimonial. I think your website and tutorials are great. Thank you, but that's not enough. Well, I mean, well, yeah, so you have to say something more, like more powerful, or if you are a famous person, then that has weight to my readers. But yeah, so David Hammer Hansen, DHH. Oh yeah, that's the guy. So that's the guy who created Ruby on Rails. I think he's a okay. First of all, he's an asshole. This is the consensus. Okay, universally agreed. He's a asshole kind of a guy. But besides that, I think he's a scumbag. He's a human scumbag. Okay, he's not a good person. Okay, with respect to morality, I don't think he's a good person. He's a scumbag. I criticize a lot people, programmers, computers, well-known programmers, celebrities, Larry Wall, for example. I criticize a lot of people. Python, Guido van Rossum, Guido, the Python guy. But I don't have, I think they are good person. I mean, they are fine person. Guido, Larry Wall, they are, I just don't like their design, their thoughts, and the way they talk. I criticize, but it's I don't think they are bad person. I think they are good. For some programmers, I make a difference. That DHH guy, the guy created Ruby on Rails, I think he's a scum. Okay, not in a good way. He's a I'm not a good person. and also the guy who created npm, he's a scumbag. The npm guy, I haven't really studied them in detail, but in the past years, there are news and incidents happening, in programming communities. You see them once in a while. You see their behaviors, you see what they say, you see the kind of things they say, their style. I think they are scumbags. Okay, they are not good person. This Ruby on Rails DHH guy and that npm, the guy who created npm, the JavaScript library guy. On the other hand, the Node.js guy, what's his name? Let's see. Dome. He's a great guy. Okay, he's a great person, great ethics, great morality. He's and he's a great nerd, and he's also a mathematician. Node.js guy. What's his name? Ryan Dahl. Okay. Yeah, he's a mathematician. He's actually, true mathematician. Actually, lots of these programming language creators are mathematicians. Guido van Rossum is a mathematician. But I don't like his idea. Okay, he's I mean, even among mathematicians, there are different styles and different schools of thought and different factions. Sometimes so bad that, just like programming community, they fight each other, clawing each other's eyes out. This you can see in history. There's lots of stories. Not just verbally, but actually, I want you to go, I want you to get fired, things like that, among mathematicians. So, Guido van Rossum is a mathematician. Who else? Let's see. Mathematica, Stefan Wolfram. He's a, he's a certified genius. He won MacArthur Award when youngest guy to won that award, and he had PhD since he was 15 or something. He publishes, physics in physics research journals when he is a teen. That's Stefan Wolfram. He created Mathematica. Richard Stallman. He's not. Oh, Richard Stallman. Actually, I think he's a dropout, if I recall correctly, university dropout, and he also has a math background. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was studying some math, something. Let's see, PHP. The guy who invented PHP is a teen boy. He was just making a pretty homepage script written in Perl. And that so happens PHP became popular. Who else? There are quite a few. They are mathematicians. So that's about it today. Let me finish reading the comments. So George Philip, okay, and Bartholomew says DHH extracted Ruby on Rails from his work on the project management tool Basecamp at the web application company, also called Basecamp. Apparently, this guy made Ruby on Rails. Yeah, I don't know his background detail. So George Phillips says, I think that magazine was talking about Noco Lisp. Oh, this Byte magazine is talking about Noco Lisp. Oh, I see. Let's see. SetQ Prague define. How do you know it's Noco Lisp? Okay, so that's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't tell. Yeah, so this is 1979. So yeah, so put into that time frame, that maybe that yeah, maybe that's it. So what? Oh, privet is Russian for hi. That's Russian, right? Sing two. Oh, good morning, Sing two. Uh, so Bartholomew says basically, I think Julia is way better than Python in every way. Yeah, I think I agree. Even I don't know Julia actually yet. So Ruby Python are very complicated in my opinion, George says, but they have a superficial impression of being simple. Okay. Uh, Go and Java are simple. Hmm. Go is simple, I can agree. I think Ruby is simple. But you are saying Java is simple. I think Java is very complicated. So, to discuss this further, we really need to go into detail. Like, what is your, sense of simple? How do you like define it? We need to get into detail. So, this is why so many programming arguments, because in your mind you are thinking, this or that, and you think so, therefore it is simple. But in my mind, it's some other thing. C is also simple and difficult for other reasons. Okay, so George says, and Bartholomew says, Julia is partly focusing on machine learning. Data sciences act. Isn't that great for current and future job market? No, I'm not sure. No, I wouldn't say so, because if you are thinking the future is machine learning and data science, definitely not. They just happen to be the current fad. Okay, now I'm saying this from consideration of all things. Okay, the history, the as far as I know, all the mathematics I know of, the research math, proof systems, all the programming technology, AI, different branches of AI, machine learning, neural networks, genetic programming, many different techniques. If you consider all things, humanity, the all things, do you think the next, let's say next 20 years or 10 years in programming will be machine learning and data science? I don't think so. Okay, I don't think so. Yeah, in my opinion, I think they will they will, come and go. They are not in no way, the field, the scientific field of machine learning and data science. Data science is very broad, like what you mean. But in no way, I mean, even if you say data science, in no way machine learning and data science, in my opinion, is occupying some kind of large chunk of progress in sciences. I don't think, not at all. I think they are just, maybe, for now, for maybe few more years. So, Aaron Ho. Hey, good morning, Aaron. Oh, haven't seen you for a while. Yeah, I think I'm about to end. I've been talking, today I've been talking like nonstop for programming languages and stuff. How are you going? So, Aaron Ho, I know Aaron Ho is a Python expert. Um, so, Weibo Champru says, can I use Emacs Lisp to do SIG exercises, or should I get Racket? You should get Racket, actually. The SIG, that book, they are known for they are heavily criticized because let me show you what SIG. Okay, where is it? Yeah, there's one criticized, the structure and interpretation of computer programs. This book, it uses, I think it uses a variant of MIT Scheme, Scheme Lisp, to teach fundamental programming concepts. Okay, but however, their scheme is not. I think it's MIT scheme or a variant of it. It, so so scheme, Lisp is kind of like a family. There are many variations, incompatible. So there are many people. A common criticism is that it's when you try to do the homework, it's not exactly the same. You have to either get that scheme Lisp, that particular version, or you have to kind of the code is not exactly the same. That's a common criticism. But I think people have tried to not translate, but the same book, but however they replace the code snippet into I think there's a Emacs. I think there's a Emacs Lisp version. There's a Python version. I think there's a Clojure version, and there's also a Racket, scheme Lisp version. So you might look, search for it. But I would not use Emacs Lisp, okay, because I wouldn't use Emacs Lisp because, well, Emacs Lisp is still a Lisp, but in general, you want a general purpose language. Emacs Lisp is kind of just in Emacs. You want to go and try study the general purpose Lisp. I smell something burned. Let me check if there's something burned. Sorry. I guess my roommates are cooking. So few more comments and we are done for today. So Ruby has Ruby has twice as much stuff to learn as Python to really know the language. I don't agree. Oh, Aaron, yeah, Aaron, I know you like Python better than Ruby. Like you study them both and you prefer Python. But well, I get yes, but everyone is different. So I guess to you, Python is simpler. But actually that you make a good point. Okay, actually because I actually never really learned Ruby. I only learned it for 3 months, and from my impression of this 2 months, I think Ruby is simpler. But maybe if I actually started to code, maybe the story will be different. But I still think, yeah. So okay. So that's maybe you are right. Again, I mean, of course, it depends on exactly what we mean by simple. We have to kind of, each of us, give a sense of what's your definition of simple. So Alan W, what's up? Hey, Alan. Alan says machine learning plus data science implies people think because they can count a bunch of stuff that they can socially engineer utopia. Yeah, that's a lot of Google people and tech heads are thinking that. They think, a lot programmers, okay, I know, and especially in Silicon Valley, there's this Google, or maybe today Facebook people, they like to think that, they are going to create a utopia. Technology will solve everything. Not really. Actually, programmers. I regard programmers as the worst leader of society. For example, right now in U.S. presidential election, there's this Chinese guy. I think he's Chinese. Andrew Yang. Okay, he's a tech head. He's a nerd. Okay, he does VI research, and in his campaign, often the slogan is math. Like math, the stuff I like, math. So among tech people, usually there's tech people. I think engineers, the programmers type. Okay, the nerds, they are the most ignorant about society, about how society works, how society or history evolves, what should be good, what should not be good. Okay, I think the programmers, if they rule, if they rule the world will collapse, okay, into nothingness. And we can kind of see it, in part. You see how, the censorship started, the riots, violence in USA, the all kind of things. The Google beginning with, do no evil, and look at them today. It's like evil everything, like do evil. Let's do evil everywhere. That's what Google has. It's not opinion anymore. It's like you see it every day. There's, it's not like debatable anymore. So you see how programmers, a lot of you are open source fans. I'm not. Okay, I used to be free software fanatics. I talked about this many times. But so part of the blame, I also blame the open source people. The open source, they are part of the root of the social justice, warrior. Because why? Because you start with the ideology, the utopian, like we're gonna help everyone, we're gonna share. That's part of the, that's the heart of the open source. We're gonna share everything. Oh, the world is gonna be beautiful. Anyway, today we have, if we consider the whole Earth, our technology is sufficient to such a degree that everyone can be happy and have money. There's no more hunger. We can, it can be done. I mean, except, technically, we can do that, except the relation, the politics situation. You know, like, for example, if you are rich, give me your money. Are you going to give me your money? Like, you just give me. Why not? It's good for everyone, but you are not going to. It's a power struggle. The rich gets richer. They want to be richer. They think they are doing good. They think they are, we are, anti-Trump. We are, they think they are doing good, but they get more richer. And they're talking about equality. The equality is very easy. Just give all your money out. No one is doing that. So, so anyway, not to get into too political, but basically, our technology, our current, technology and resources, we could, world in one, in peace. Like, imagine a world there's no religion. That's idiotic song, okay? That John Lennon. That's the most harmful song because it's a impractical. This ideology. They think people like to think. If you don't study anything, that song sounds good to you. But why not? Because why not? Everyone is in peace. Why not? But in reality, you can see why it won't work by just thinking yourself, your family. Everyone is equal. Nobody owns anything. You don't own your car. Your car is shared by your roommates or your family, whatever. Nobody owns any money. When you make some money, put it on the table. Like, everyone put your money in your family. Put it into a bucket. You see how it works. It's not going to work. So. Okay, I think I'm gonna stop, like, because the comments I'm gonna just keep reading and you'll never stop. Um, yeah, so because I've been talking for like okay, a few more comments. So I have some opinions, so that's just my opinions. You can always judge for yourself. Hey, good morning, Justin. Justin, I know you for for years, I guess, online. So Ruby jobs has to advertise more. Okay, it is like few years ago, 3 years ago, I was looking for jobs. It's almost like every startup they use Ruby. Yeah, every startup. I think it's probably still true now, but anyway, at least 3 years ago or more, for several years, every startup job in Silicon Valley, in San Francisco Bay Area, it's all Ruby. I can tell you that. Uh, so Bethlehem, so Alan W says it's true. Now science is being smashed together every field. So yeah, we were talking about Andrew Yang. He's a nerd. His idea. His political. His pitch is that he's going to create a. He's going to give everyone $1,000 a month, and his big thing is about AI is going to take away jobs. I don't think so. You know, you, he's a nerd. I can, as a nerd, I can kind of see exactly what he's thinking. I think that's just. I don't think he's, that he's in a sense he's like he's pushing fear mongering of the artificial intelligence. I don't think that's an issue. Okay, that's yeah. You might think AI is going to be a disaster or something, but I don't think that's like I don't think that's critical. As far as politics goes, in my opinion, the most critical things. Okay, it doesn't matter what's your opinion on guns or on any of these hot topics. I think the most important thing is to rid of corruption, like no lying, no corruption. Okay, meaning that if you break the law, you go to jail, or you go to death penalty. You lie to the public, you go to death penalty. Okay, you you death for you. No corruption. You take bribes. If we found out, death. That's what I think. That's the most important of any region, any political, any religion. That's what I think. Okay, you read of that, then whatever is your opinion or what's your philosophy, what's your school of thought, it will all become good. They will head in the right direction. Doesn't matter what's your philosophy, communism, capitalism, whatever. But I think the most, in my opinion, most important is rid of the, eliminate corruption. That's the most important thing. That's just my thing. That's just my thought, of course. Maybe if you dig deeper, it becomes hard to define. Then it becomes, something else, maybe. Uh, Young Gan, Young Gan. Yeah, that's his slogan, Young. Um, so okay, I gotta stop because I'm gonna talk non-stop. I'm working in Ruby right now. Justin is working on Ruby right now. Not my choice, but the best jobs in fintech around Vancouver. Oh, okay. Ruby. At least Ruby has some roots in Lisp. Yes, exactly. Yeah, I was just talking about that. Ruby is based on Lisp and Perl. I think Young is overestimating how fast jobs will be automated in the future. For example, that all truck drivers. Okay, I should stop. Okay, full stop. That's the United Kingdom. The British Empire. They say the period in America. It's period. They say full stop. Okay, full stop. Thank you guys for coming by. Thank you guys. Yeah, see you next time.